I start off with an introduction.
Right.
Okay. And then I will introduce you.
Sure.
And then we'll get the show on the road.
So, okay, fine. We'll
All
just keep talking like we're talking.
Yes.
Don't think about it.
3, 2. What's going on, everybody? Asad Hashim Ali back again with another episode of Behind the Grind podcast. This time we have someone very special with us, someone who I don't really hang out with or talk to, but I follow her on Instagram and she's doing great work. I did the CrossFit Open with her a couple of years ago, Kiran Jangda.
Yeah, that happened.
That did happen,
That
yeah.
happened.
2019, I think.
2019.
Yes.
That was the last time I participated. I didn't participate after that.
Really?
No.
But you still do CrossFit or no?
I do sometimes, not all the
Ish,
time.
CrossFit-ish. Yeah.
Retired athlete.
Oh, never went to the games, but has put the belt up.
Already.
Yeah. No, but Kiran is a coach. She is a fitness trainer. And interestingly enough, I met Kiran with a common friend of ours, Bilal Munir, for the first time. And in passing, she said, I did organizational psychology. And I was like, what? You've done organizational psychology and now you're a coach? That's pretty interesting, because I've always thought about actually using CrossFit for like team building and
Really, that
HR
works.
purposes.
We've done that.
You have?
Yeah.
All right, interesting. So we'll tap into that a little bit more. But Kiran, let's start off. Sure. Why are you in this fitness space? What got you into it?
Why am I in this space? So since I was a child, I was sort of on the chubbier, healthier side, and fitness had been something that had been helping me with that, obviously. And while I'd been changing a lot of careers throughout, which I've been into journalism, I've been into psychology, I've been like in HR and marketing and all of that, but fitness was one thing that stayed consistent, and I felt like I had more to offer in this field than I did in any other field. Also because I wanted to help people change their lives for the better, which is also why I studied psychology. But that profession didn't work out, so I figured this is the way to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I switched fields like literally overnight and just went into it and just started off.
Interesting.
So that's what happened.
So it was like after training yourself and
training myself for a very long time, training myself incorrectly for a very long time, learning from my mistakes and understanding how people will be making the same mistakes because we don't have that kind of education, we don't have that kind of exposure in this country. So I figured, why not start somewhere and help people not make the same mistakes I made in terms of fitness.
Over the years, have you just like made a blog book of things that you've learned through trial and error, or have you actually like...
I mean, it's not a logbook, but it's in my head, a lot of it.
No, but like, have you pursued some kind of like formal qualification or something?
Yes, I've been studying OPEX fitness for a while now. I mean, I've done a lot of 3-day, 4-day certifications, but I don't think they add so much value as much as working with people and like a formal education like OPEX has. Mm-hmm. OPEX is very wholesome in the sense it focuses on psychology, which is amazing. It focuses on behavioral change. It focuses on training for different kinds of people, like not just a group setting, but also more personalized towards their goals, their lifestyle. And what I really like about what I'm studying right now is that it focuses mostly on making fitness work for you rather than you making yourself work for fitness, right? If that makes sense. So you basically
are at the center of it. Yeah.
So whatever plan that I make for my clients will revolve around the kind of life they're living and the life they want to live, rather than trying to incorporate change their life to fit their goals, basically, if that makes sense. So the idea is not to change their lives to a point where they're unable to, where it's not sustainable. Yeah. So that's what it's all about.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It's been fun training clients that way. It's been fun seeing the results, because it's amazing how the small changes can make the real difference, is what we don't realize. So it's pretty fun. It's been pretty great.
So is it like a sport, or is it more of a regiment? It's more of a principle. It's not OPEX isn't exactly a sport. It derives from CrossFit. That's where it started. Mm-hmm. That's where those the founder of OPEX initially started training in the way that he does. But it was mostly about the fact that as inclusive as CrossFit is, it is not for everybody. Not everybody can perform the way they expect you to perform. So the idea was to basically, make it inclusive in the way that you start from the bottom, lay out a very strong foundation, and then move up if you want to. You don't have to if you don't need to. It really depends. Like, a person like who's a teacher, or who's somebody who is like,
I don't know, has like a 9 to 9 job, right? They cannot give them 100% in an hour workout.
Yeah.
They cannot crash and burn every time they come to a class. So the idea is to basically make the workout as such that as much as they would like to push themselves in that class, they can also go back to their family and not be like, I'm too tired to do anything. So that is a very basic foundation of OPEX, which I think is interesting and something that we as, I wouldn't say community, but as a nation are not there yet, where we think that your workout is not supposed to kill you. It's not supposed to take the life out of you. Because every time a person comes in and they're not dying by the end of the class, they're basically like, I haven't worked enough.
Yeah.
Which is the mindset that we're trying to change.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I should check that out because I feel like I need that now as well.
Everybody needs that.
Yes.
Because you want to stay fit,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you don't want to, be exhausted by the end of it.
Yeah.
Because you also have other goals in life,
Yeah,
right? Your
yeah.
workout is not your only goal.
Yeah.
Unless you're an athlete, that's a different model, different training, different mindset altogether. But for somebody like you, for example, who has other businesses running and you want to work out just to get your blood flowing, just to stay in a good shape, so you don't have to go through the strenuous workouts that everybody else does. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, interesting because I don't know if you know this, but like I used to train people as well. In the
Oh, you
community.
did? Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I remember this.
Yeah.
We had
So
this
like it was
conversation.
this kind of like class of sorts and like went on for like a good 15-16 months.
Oh,
And
really?
people would come to me at the end and be like, yaar, Asad, aaj maza nahi hai. I was like, kyun? Itna pasina hi nahi hai.
Yeah, that's what
Tumne
that
phadi nahi hai
happens.
hamari. And I'm like, well, okay, you got to change that
Yeah,
thinking.
that's true. That is very true, because that is what I struggle with on some days also. Because, there'll be clients who come in who have some serious problems in terms of their mobility. They'll have
Yeah.
serious problems in terms of how they move, right? But which means our foundation is not strong, which means we have to go back, reassess, and fix their basic issues so they're able to move their shoulder properly, right? But they'll be like, but I didn't die. And I'm like, yeah, but your body doesn't work properly. What do you want?
Yeah.
So, so the idea is to keep fixating on the fact that, you have to start again. You have to fix your basics first.
Yeah.
You don't have to die in every workout. You
Yeah.
have to be, you have to be able to do this when you're 60 also. You don't want to just keep doing it till you're 40 and then, be like, okay, I'm going to go walk now because my body doesn't work.
Yeah.
So this is something that I feel we could work on.
Yeah.
As a fitness community,
Yeah.
and not promote boot camps and not promote high intensity workouts all the time, because you can't do that all your life. It's just not possible.
Yeah, true. I think people also just need to understand is that it's not like in X amount of days you lose this many inches and this many pounds and then your life's set.
But it's not though, right? Because once
it's
you
incremental
get there,
change.
yeah. But once even if you do go out on a full-on rigid diet plan and a workout plan, and you're like, okay, I'm going to get this goal, and you get it, and then what?
Yeah.
What do you do then? Because
Yeah.
you don't know what you're going to do, and then after that you go back to your original lifestyle and you're back where you started.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you've done the sessions also, then you know that if they're not making real changes in their lives, if they're not eating healthy, if they're not sleeping properly, if they're not paying attention to their food hygiene or their sleep hygiene, they are going to go back. And if those things aren't taken care of, your workout is irrelevant.
Yeah. True. But I want to transition a little bit into you coming into this space, right? So like you said, I didn't know that you actually were into journalism as well.
I was working at the news for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
And then what was this org psychology stint?
Okay,
that was
so
going on?
do you want me to go all the way back? So
As
okay,
far as you like.
as far
As far as you like, yeah.
So after so I've always wanted to study psychology.
Yeah.
But when I was doing my bachelor's, जब हम bachelor's का time था, तब there weren't any real, only Bahria University was doing psychology. I remember. But I didn't get permission to go there. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll just study. So I had to change a lot of universities because of my family moving around a bit. So I just ended up getting my bachelor's in advertising, and I wasn't very happy with it. So then the only psychology that was available for non-psychologists was organizational psychology, which was in Dubai. So I went there for my master's, which was a great experience because going from an advertising, very quantifiable background to something that was so quality based, and it was a lot of research and a lot of self-studying and a lot of unlearning and relearning in terms of how to do researches, how to read studies and all of that. So that was a lot of fun. And then before I came back, I already had my job at Ernst & Young. So I started working there for a couple of years. And in the beginning, again, it was a lot of fun because I was learning new things and we were working at all sorts of industries. We worked with insurance, we worked with pharma, we worked with banking. But at the same time, it just felt like it was the same thing on repeat. We weren't really making a difference. It was always going to be about what the client wanted. It was never going to be about us making any real changes. The idea, basically, organizational psychology works as therapy for businesses, right? So the idea is to go into businesses, figure out what they're doing wrong, tell them how to make things better, and then help them implement the change. But that was not happening. The whole problem was that they'd want you to come in and just validate what they were originally doing. And there had been times where we did this whole survey and we got the results and they were like, we're not going to pay you if you don't fix it. If you don't get back to if you don't tell us what we're doing is right. And I was like, okay, this can't carry on. I was like, this is not what I want to do.
This is all local.
Huh?
This is all locally?
Yeah, it was all local because even though Ernst & Young is a global firm, but we work local, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I would just start going through this like middle quarterly life crisis. I was like, what am I doing with my life? And then during this time, I was working out at Move. I was doing kickboxing. And then Mehak asked me if I wanted, Mehak owns Move. And she asked me if I wanted to come train here. And I was like, but I've studied so much. I need to pursue this career. I can't just give up right now. And then a year went by and then she asked me again. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I just quit my job and then I just started training the next day. I just had like an 8 a.m. class then and I was so farig. Like I had nothing to do because working at Ernst & Young was 9 to 9, right?
Yeah.
And then all of us, and I just had like an 8 o'clock class and nothing else.
Yeah.
So then I started studying fitness and I started, watching other people train and see what they were doing. Because I just felt like because I know how fitness changed my life, right? And how it helped me be better, how it helped me with my confidence and helped me with how I feel about myself, how I generally feel about wellness, how the importance of wellness, right? So, and plus studying psychology helped that because you can connect with your clients on a more deeper level than an average coach. So, so that's why I started to shift. Well, it wasn't starting, which is like an overnight situation. So I did that. And it was obviously a struggle in the beginning because I was very new.
And this was way back when?
This was 2018, I want to say. Not even 18, probably 17. 2017 June, I think. That's when I made the transition. Although my boss at the time also said, you're going to get a promotion in like November. So wait it out and then you can quit. I was like, no, I'm going to go. And then I just quit. And then, so it was a massive change. Obviously, there was a lot of resistance from my family and everyone's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also was like, okay, you know what? This makes sense because it's been something I've been passionate about for a while on a personal level. Not that I was preaching at the time.
Yeah.
But on a personal level, it had a lot of importance to me. And it was like almost therapy for me because of it. You all have your
doing what felt right also.
Yeah. And then it just felt like even if I make no money out of this, it's fine because I just feel like I'm
peace.
Yeah. And I feel like, I'm fulfilling some sort of purpose. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. So I just started doing that. And good decision, I think.
Yeah. That's good, man. Yeah. But what were your parents like?
My parents are very chill in the sense they don't really mind me doing this. Their only issue is that I don't work too much because that's the issue that they had at Ernst & Young also. They're like, oh, you work. And plus I'm like, I'm a Mayman, right? So we have very business mentality. They're like, what are you doing? You work all day, you make no money. I think you're right. That is true. But so that's been their mindset. Like my dad, he was always like, you need to either you get enough out of it or you don't work this much. You don't need to do all of that. Like, I get it, but you always want to be independent.
Yeah.
So in the beginning there was a little resistance because they were like they didn't understand what I was doing. They thought कि मैं Zumba करा रही हूँ या मैं I mean no offense to people who do Zumba, but
but they had this other like notion in mind.
Yeah, that it's either I'm like teaching dance. I was like, I'm not teaching dance, relax. So I was like, it's important. And then I made my mom take a few of my classes and I kind of introduced my family to a few things and then it became okay. So it was a bit of a struggle in the beginning, and I'm not going to say a massive struggle because I know people struggle a lot. But there was just resistance ke itna padh ke ab aap kya kar rahi ho, right?
Yeah.
Like what is the point of doing all of this when you've studied so much?
Yeah.
So how are you going to apply all of that here? And I was like, it will apply, just wait, So after some time, after reading my Instagram over and over again, they're like, okay, you make sense. So
Is your family following you?
my brothers follow me. They make fun of me obviously, but they
Okay.
follow me and they appreciate the work that I do.
Say.
So it's okay.
Interesting. Cool. So with what you've learned over the years, right? Like that Ernest and Young stint,
Yeah.
I'm sure must have just been like taking the piss out of you, right? Like it just juices you out
It
altogether,
does.
right?
It really does.
And now you help people change their lives, and you're actually working in accordance to their own schedules, right? Like you're training with OPEX. It's all about putting them first. So like, it's cool how it's come full circle in
It
a way.
has,
Is that
hasn't
you
it?
went through that to
Yeah.
empathize with them better,
Exactly.
and now how do you end up promoting, or how do you end up getting your clients to also realize that they have to find that sweet balance?
So how it works is that basically when they come in and they'll talk about their lives, right? And so with OPEX also, you have to have like a 90-minute consultation session with your clients where you talk about everything. So it's basically like a therapy session. So they come in and they talk about what their strengths and weaknesses are, what their goals are, what their failures have been, and all of that. So when they start talking about their lives and then they come in with their goal, okay, this is my goal. But I'm like, your life doesn't match your goals. So you have to reverse engineer into having that conversation again and be like, if your goal is to, for example, a mother of 3 who has a full-time job but is also working at home full-time, wants to have like a 6-pack ab situation, and then also so I'm like, okay, if you want to do that, these are things that you have to give up on. And they're like, okay, but I'm not ready to do that. So then you kind of have to have that conversation with them and, make them understand that as appealing as their goal sounds to them right now, it may not be what's right for them.
Yeah.
And that's not something they always want to hear. But with time, and it's not always easy because they're like, but I'm coming to you with a problem, you give me a solution. I was like, yeah, sure, I can tell you what to do, but are you willing to put in that work? And then they're like, so sometimes it'll go really well. Sometimes they go, you know what, you're right. And sometimes it'll be like, fuck off. Like, I'm not listening to you. But okay, fine, if that's what you want to do. And sometimes you have to let them learn their lesson, right? So they'll come in and they'll be like, I want to run a 10K, I want to get 6-pack abs, but I also want to go out with my family, I also want to take care of my friends, I want to do all of this. So if they're not willing to listen, then I'll be like, okay, let's do it all. And then after a month of doing it all, they're like, I'm fucking exhausted. I was like, well, obviously. And they're like, are you ready to listen now? And then you're like, okay, fine. Let's take a step back. Let's reassess your goals and let's go back and, change a few things.
And what is the likelihood of them sticking it out till then?
For a month, they'll miss a lot of sessions.
Yeah.
They'll probably be, when they come in, they'll be very exhausted.
Yeah.
They'll be like, I have no energy today. And it's a general rule of mine to ask them how much energy they have that day, so that, then you can tell, out of 4 out of 5 days, they've had like level 3 energy or level 5 energy. So then
Which is not RPE, right?
No, just like general idea of like, how are you feeling? How do you feel today? Did you have a stressful day? Because these questions kind of will help us understand how their day generally is, right? Because what happens is that with personal training, it's mostly people just wanting them to talk about whatever's happening and just vent most of the time.
Yeah.
That happens more often than I'd like to admit. So the idea is to basically, make them understand in a way through practice or through just talking to them, like, making them understand through just, laying out the cards for them and just be like, this is where you're at. So if this is how you want to continue, then it's probably not going to work. And again, they understand because they want to fix their lives, right? So we start very small. Sometimes we're like, okay, you know what? If you're sleeping at 1, try sleeping at 12:55. For like 5 days, try sleeping like 5 minutes earlier. So these small changes that you kind of enlist in them that they don't really realize they go bahut bade changes hain. Like if they're not having breakfast, for example, then I'll be, because they're waking up too late and they don't have time. So I'll be like, okay, you know what? Just grab a fruit. Just on your way out, grab a fruit. That's it. So these little things that you start making them do, they're like, okay, you know what, I feel better. And then they'll be like, okay, I have more, I can make more. Once they start seeing the result of their little change, they'll automatically make an effort to make the big change because they can see the result from the small change, right? So it's always going to be a very long process. It's not going to happen in a month or 2 or even 3. 4 or 5 months, they're like, okay, you know what, this starts to feel good, I'll make the change. So it's just one of them. And sometimes they just flip a switch. One of my clients, she used to struggle with binge eating quite a bit for a very long time. And she's been my client for a very long time. And, every time she'd lose a decent amount of weight and then she'll go back and then, it'll be like a cycle over and over. And then one day she's like, I've just had it. And then she just fixed herself. I was like, okay, if all of my clients could just fix her. But it's not that though.
Yeah.
It's a tipping point, right?
Yeah.
Because you've been talking to them over and over and over.
Yeah.
And they've been listening, they've been hearing you, but not really listening. But there comes a point in their life and it just connects, and then they listen and they're like, okay,
Until
what?
one fine day.
That
little
fine
switch
day
goes
yeah.
off.
One fine day happens after years of work, right? So it's an ongoing process. It's not easy. It's
Kudos
always
to you, man. Guys, some supreme level of fucking patience.
yeah, that is something that people tell me that I have a lot of that, which is I think it's a virtue.
And this is what's so interesting is that if you are exposed to what's happening in the outside world, you understand, you, I'm sure, understand is that there's training, there's coaching, then there's life coaching, then there's therapy.
There's therapy. And because alhamdulillah, I've been able to do all of that in my own life and been experiencing it and then implementing it, it's pretty
damn
good.
shit.
Yeah.
So how do you've managed to feed in a lot of knowledge and a lot of information to your clients as well, right? Like I'm sure you've built that relationship with them where they trust you. That takes time, that guard comes down. But now lately also, like you have so many stimulants in your life as well. This is one of them. This is the worst one, right? And what I saw from this stimulant was also a lot of content coming up on like the notion of body positivity and breaking stereotypes, right? There was the whole, especially for females in Pakistan, it's even worse. Whether that's about like the skin color issue that came up, or whether that's about like your image altogether or your background. How are you curbing that, or how are you fighting that battle as well, with not just like with yourself, but then also with your clients as well? Because you have to act as a voice of reason for them too.
That is true. That happens a lot. Again, because the reason why I got into, people keep asking me why I just train women. And it's because of the fact that it is so much harder for women. Like men will just go to a gym. I mean, not to undermine anything that you guys do, but it's generally harder because we're always going to be objectified in ways that men never will be. Like there'll always be, and it's not going to come from outsiders. It's always going to be their friends and their family, right? Like, I have clients who come in who be like, oh, my mom said this to me. Mom. Right? I'm like, that sucks, and it's sad because I've been through it. Like my extended family, we've all lived in a joint family for a very long time. So I get where all of these things come from, and they come from a place of love. But it's just that the way people say things is not the nicest, right? So
it becomes toxic.
It becomes very toxic. So even though your heart is in the right place and you want what's good for your friends or your family, but you have to think that, if somebody says this to me, how would I feel? And probably not great, right? So what I keep telling my clients is that, and this is something I keep repeating myself about, is that people will keep saying things regardless of what you do. Regardless. They will have a comment about anything and everything that you do. But it's your job to protect yourself, right? You cannot let everything get to you. You need to pick like 2 people you like, right? And listen to them. And that's it. Okay, everybody else is just white noise, because 99% of the time it's their own insecurity, it's their own failure that they project on you. And that's usually the case, right? I'll just like a random example would be like a mom saying something to her daughter is about her not being able to lose weight. It's probably because she feels bad as a mom because she wasn't able to help her when she could have, right?
Yeah.
So it's just her insecurity that she's projecting on you because that's the best way she knows how, because that's how South Asian cultures work, right? So I mean, I just keep telling them that, you can either listen to what they're saying and get hurt, or you can just keep focusing on what you're doing because you're working hard. You're putting in the effort. So whatever they're saying is irrelevant, because at the end of the day, it's about how you feel about yourself. And you could be size 0 by now, and if you feel shit, you're still going to, if you internally you're not okay, whatever you do here is irrelevant.
Yeah.
So again, social media is a major problem, but at the same time, it's always your social media is going to keep feeding you what you want it to feed you. If you look out for positivity, you will get positivity. If you keep focusing on the negative, you will keep getting negative. And that goes for anything, even in life. If you keep looking for a problem for every solution, you are going to be faced with that many obstacles. But if you have a solution mindset, if you have a problem solving mindset, you will keep coming up with a solution for everything that you do. So I guess that's just, again, a change in mindset, because it takes work for the individual themselves, because I can keep saying it, but if you don't think it, you won't do it. But for that, they need to experience it on their own. They need to experience being positive on their own. So for that, what tangible thing that I can do is what I usually do is make their work, for example, make their workout on a very bad day. I'll make their workout as such that's something they're good at, and they'll feel like, oh, they've achieved something, and then they'll go home happy, and that happiness will kind of, trickle out. Yeah. So that's what happened. But if they come in with if they come in having a shitty day, and if I give them a workout and which they will suck at, which I know that's not their strong suit, and then they'll feel even worse going out. So then I haven't done my job as a personal trainer, because you always have to have a contingency plan. You can't always stick to your plan thinking, humne to aaj ye karna hai, you deal with it. That's not how it works, because as much as the goals are important, the long-term goal is important, but the short-term goal is that you don't cause stress to somebody who's already stressed, right?
Yeah.
If you're an athlete, by all means, I don't care what your day has been like, you have to do your shit, I don't care. But if you're somebody who's just coming in for a workout, who wants to lose a little bit of weight, who wants to, just live a healthy life, you don't have to kill yourself today. You can do like 10% of what you were going to do. We'll have a conversation. Maybe we won't even work out at all. Maybe I'll take them out for coffee. They'll talk, vent it out, and just, go home. It's fine. It's just a bad day. A bad day doesn't mean you have to kind of kill yourself. It's okay. It's just a workout at the end of the day, So,
but like, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do for yourself then? Like,
what do you mean?
When you have all these, you're dealing with your own stresses.
Yeah.
You're coaching your clients to deal with their stresses.
Yeah.
And you're actually dealing with their own stresses firsthand as well.
Yeah.
But then doesn't it like add up and like add more pressure to you as well?
So what I struggled with is internalizing a lot of stuff, which is something that I've actually had conversation with Bilal with, for example, because, I'd be like, this is what's happening with my client. He's like, but you can't get emotionally invested with your clients. I was like, yeah, but I do. Like, that's who I am as a person. But that is always a struggle to not internalize all of what they're saying. But if you're talking about my own training, so for a long time, I just try to do it on my own. I was like, I am a coach. I should be able to do this on my own, but you can't. So then I hired a coach. I was like, what? I need somebody to hold me accountable. I need somebody to, I just need to work out where I just shut off my brain and just do what I'm supposed to do and not really think about my program, not really think about what I'm supposed to do, things like that. I said, I'll let somebody else worry about that. I'll worry about my clients. So I hired a coach.
Fair. No, and I think even being able to recognize that is very important as well. When you should make that.
Yeah, because you can't do it all. I mean, if you think you can, you're just waiting to crash and burn. So it's just better to realize that earlier rather than later. Regret always comes later, so you don't want to get to that.
Yeah. Fair. Interesting. Okay, so tell me about what are your views on the wellness and fitness space overall in Pakistan? Over the lockdown duration of the past year, right before the lockdown, a lot of great facilities were opening up, and a variety of them, not just gyms and boxes, but then also like yoga studios and sound meditation centers and stuff, like fancy shit that I wouldn't go to. But there's then the food scene also changed as well. And now during the lockdown, the tech scene within fitness, there's some sisters in Lahore who made their app, or they had a gym running. I don't know if you heard about that, but they were running a gym, and they digitized their entire online training. They built an app. They got funding for that as well, like amazing. $2 million in that too. So they're doing what like the likes of Anna Victoria does in the States.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And like a whole community-based kind of a thing.
That's amazing.
What do you feel is missing in your own eyes, like in the space overall?
So before the pandemic, if you had asked me, okay, and I would have told you that, our wellness and fitness community is very aesthetic based, and all we really care about is what we look like, and all our workouts are kind of just catering to that. But when the lockdown happened and everybody was on the streets, everybody was cycling, everybody was running, everybody was...
I was one of them. I was a cycle boy. Yes.
We all were. We all did it. So, everybody was figuring it out. Like, grind online was full, right? Everybody would just wanted to work out. And that's when I realized we've moved past that. We're no longer just thinking about how we look, because it has a lot to do with our mental health now. We're focused on how fitness makes us feel. And, we're looking at it as an outlet more than, I need to fit into these clothes. And yes, a lot of people did gain a lot of weight during lockdown, because obviously we were stressed, we didn't know what to do, and things happened. But if you ask me what's missing in our industry right now is education. I think that is missing. Education, and then turning that into knowledge, basically, because I feel like we're not very focused on the fact that the fitness industry worldwide is evolving. We're getting there, but we're a little far behind in the sense that we're very one tier right now. Like, our focus is very basic. Acha, theek hai, get a workout in. We're not thinking long term. We're not thinking, that if I have a client right now, if I want that client to stay with me for the next 3-4 years, what am I doing about that? Right now, we're just focused on month to month. We're just focused on, okay, this person has like a 3-month goal. We need to get them there. We're not thinking what will we do when, these apps come in and we basically become redundant, right? Those things I don't think we're thinking about right now, although we're not there yet, but we will be soon. Like you said, it's
evolving. It's good to see it's not a fad anbour.
It's not. That is.
We've gone out of that, which is good.
Which is what I said, right? Before the lockdown, if you would have asked me, I would have been like, we're very boot camps were the thing, right? That's all we like. Even right now, people message me and ask me, "Oh, are you running a boot camp?" I was like, "No, I'm not running a boot camp. Leave me alone." But
where people would approach you for that. Like what I noticed as a trend was that like, if you see it as a graph, gyms existed, they were just sparse.
Yeah.
People realized, okay, let's go inside that and see what we can do. Then some dude or girl came up with a boot camp, and then more people went into the gym. And then that amount of people entering the gym stayed.
Yeah.
It didn't drop.
That's true.
And then that led to like local apparel brands also starting off.
That is pretty
and then
amazing,
like,
right? Yeah, because it's like a synergy of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, like, with our instant gratification mindset, we just want things fast. So that's why boot camps work, right? Because we want to get results fast.
Yeah.
But once you get there and then you realize, okay, now what? Because up to maine weight lose kar liya hai. So then you go do a gym, right? And you're like, okay, this is where I sustain my. If you're smart.
Yeah.
If you're not smart, you'll be like, okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna go back to my life and let it work itself out. That's not gonna happen, right? So yeah, so I do like the fact now that there's a lot more awareness, because when I think we're the same age, but when we were younger, like 16, 17, we didn't have personal trainers. We didn't have the right education. We would just like, pick up like I've picked up multiple programs for like bodybuilding.com and just gone and done that, right? For the longest time. And then, but now there's a lot of education and like there's a lot of awareness, awareness from people to know who to seek out. Like, they are willing to seek out people and willing to, the clientele base is willing to learn and, make that investment in their fitness, in their wellness, which I think is great. Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like as a fitness industry, we owe it to them to equip ourselves with that kind of knowledge, that if they come with us, if they come to us with a problem, we should be able to either solve it or direct them in a way that where they could. We shouldn't be in a position of like, mujhe nahi pata, like, and then we try to like maneuver a way out of it and then, mess it up for us and them. Yeah. So I feel like what we lack as a fitness industry, not as the fitness scene as a whole, but we should be able to and willing to learn new things and unlearn old things. Because we've all come from the same place. We've all started at the same place where we wanted to look a certain way, which is fine, right? But at the same time, then some of us got a little more passionate, decided, okay, this is what we want to do for our living. But at the same time, then we need to keep elevating ourselves. We need to keep learning. And that goes for any industry. But the thing with fitness is it's very open, right? Because anybody can comment on your journey and anybody can comment. Like if you're a doctor, I'm not going to come tell you how to do your job. But it's very easy for somebody to tell me how to do my job because unhone internet pe kahin padha tha, right? Yeah. So it's just that for that, I feel like we need to be at an elevated state where nobody can come up and say shit to us because we're that educated, because we have that kind of knowledge, and we keep, if there is like a new fad diet coming in, we should be able to have the scientific knowledge to tell you that, okay, you know what, this is probably not the best idea for you, rather than just jumping on the bandwagon because everybody wants it. Yeah. Right? Just because something is fancy right now doesn't mean it's going to be fancy always. And we should be able to have that knowledge to tell you right there and then, this is the good and the bad, you make your decision. Yeah. Right? That is something that I think we generally lack right now. Right now we're very we're infants in the sense that, because a lot of things we learn internationally, a lot of things we see on social media and we're like, okay, this is what we should do. But I read something very recently. It said that you don't so it said something like, you don't want to teach something you just read somewhere, you want to learn something so that you're able to practice it, right? So it's just, though I think because it's an industry that has no barrier, which is great, but at the same time it shouldn't always be that way. We should be able to have a higher standard for coaches, because at the end of the day you do have a big responsibility. Like we have a big responsibility because people are coming in their most vulnerable states, especially women, right? They're not feeling that great about themselves. They're not feeling they're 100%. They feel like there's something missing, and they feel like their lives could improve. And if they come to you with that state, and you just have your little bit of information, and you just have like, acha theek hai, 4 squats kar lo, 10 push-ups kar lo, and you're good to go, that's not okay. Because if they come to you, if they invest in you, then you need to be able to be at a level where you're like, okay, you know what, you're in the right hands, and not just fucking around because you can.
Yeah,
right?
At the end of the day, you are dealing with someone's body.
Exactly, right? And you have the ability to injure them because it has happened, right? Because if you don't know, okay, this person should not be doing very high intensity workouts, if you don't know that, this person shouldn't be squatting heavy weights, and if this person does a deadlift, they'll probably mess up their back because of their history, because they've had some sort of injury in the past, and you make them do it anyway, and then they injure their back, then what? You're lucky we don't have suing culture, we just have cancel
exactly
culture, right?
But I think even then, right, like unfortunately many of the trainers that are there that have not been qualified in like some kind of biomechanics are not even on the places where they can get cancelled.
Right.
They will continue.
They will continue,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's the thing. That I feel that is very important and a lot of coaches are very educated. Like there are a lot of coaches who are constantly learning, who are always making me want to learn more. But at the same time, but that's like if there are 100 coaches, there are probably like 10 of them who do that. Right? And 90 of them are just there because, I lost some weight and I'm pretty fit, so I can do this.
Yeah.
And if you start out that way, that's fine. We all started out that way. As long as you're willing to make that investment and that effort in your education.
Yeah.
Because that is what will set you apart from, how, I don't know if you noticed this, but we have like an industry boom in our country. Like there was a time when there were all these fashion designers.
Yeah.
And then there were all these coaches. And then there were all these... एक टाइम पे बहुत सारे ट्यूशन सेंटर्स भी खुलना शुरू हो गए थे. So it's just one of those things, right? But in the
school खुल रहे ना
हर जगह school खुल रहे, right? I was like, everybody's, and there were these cafes all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you remember Zamzam, it was filled with the most random cafes,
Yes.
but they were there, right?
Yes.
And then, but only the good ones stick it out. Only the ones who are
which was Legrand 0 degrees.
Right? And then there was the You and Me cafe. I don't know what was that, right?
Yeah.
So only the good ones stick it out.
I miss Cafe Coffee Day now. Sorry, I'm running it.
Oh my god, I forgot about Cafe. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was like A-levels ke time, I think.
Yeah.
So you know how these only the good ones who are making the actual effort, who are willing to learn, are sticking it out. And that's the same with our fitness industry.
Yeah.
If you're willing to continue learning, willing to learn from your mistakes, most importantly, because we do make them. If you're willing to learn from them, then I think that's important.
Interesting. Fair. So Kiran, how was it for you as a final? I have 2 last questions for you. I won't take too much of your time, but I want to know about your own time during the lockdown. We spoke about this off camera, but I feel like it's interesting to hear that. Like people do need to speak about the good. There was good as well.
So lockdown was pretty great for me because during that lockdown, it's always one of those things you realize you're missing till you don't have it or you have it, right? So before when the lockdown started, I was a bit concerned about what's going to happen to work, right? But then I think the fitness industry adapted pretty quickly. Like everything was set very soon. Zoom started, making a buttload of money off of us, which was great. But at the same time, when that started to happen, I realized that I had a lot of free time, which I didn't have before, and I was able to kind of just relax. And I realized how close I was to burnout before the lockdown started, because I had just started this new company, and I had been working at 3 separate gyms, and I was going back and forth, and that's when I kind of sat down and realized, okay, you know what, I need to relax, and I did that. Pause. That's what was important, and I was very productive in many different ways. I kind of got a lot of other stuff done that had been putting at the back end because of work. I started studying again. I started reading again. I think you started that 5-page a day thing.
I did, yeah.
I started doing that also.
I stopped.
So did I, because work started again,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, so I was able to kind of reassess my life and was like, the things that I want to take away from the lockdown. I want to be able to have that pause. I was able to take a step away from social media. That was the time when I started stop using my phone after 10 p.m. So that's something I started during the lockdown, and I think I stuck it out. Not in Ramzan, but because the schedule's reversed. But other than that, like I started that habit during lockdown, and I think I still have it on most days. So a lot of good came out of it. I kind of was able to not be so stressed all the time, because life goes on, right? It did go on for most of us, and everything will work out on its own, and that's something that I did believe, but I saw it happen during lockdown. So I just feel like, it's okay to relax. It's okay to kind of not be, grinding all the time, as they say it. But, not all the
Poor
time.
vocabulary, otherwise the name would have been different, I promise you.
But yeah, so it was just one of those things that, I felt that lockdown was very good for me, because it gave me a chance to reassess my life and kind of rearrange my goals and, get my priorities in order, which is something that, again, I'm privileged to have.
Yeah.
Not everyone had that opportunity. And again, I'm very, very grateful that I was able to, or was, blessed enough to kind of not do anything and kind of be okay with sitting at home and spend time with my family and be okay with doing nothing, which is also a blessing, as you realize that you.
And that was actually the first time I felt that.
Yeah, right.
And I couldn't understand it,
How are you so at peace? How did that happen?
Yeah, like I actually I caught myself forcing myself to find things to do.
Right? And you would do things, but at the same time, like, you don't need to.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you read a lot of the stuff going around, was that we're in the middle of a pandemic, which has never happened before in our lifetime. So even if you do nothing, it's okay. But at the same time, it was so unnatural to do nothing, because I think as a generation, we were constantly told to hustle, constantly told to drive, and constantly told to keep working, it's not a flex.
It's
constantly working, being
yeah.
at the edge of a burnout is not a flex, because that's not what life is meant to be, right? You need to take time out for things that are actually important, which could be different for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't just keep chasing the
rat race
all the time.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to say I get it completely, because I didn't have the exact same situation going on.
Right.
But what is good is that the learnings from that time is that we all got a taste of what it means to reset and to pause.
Yeah.
Now we have to just incorporate some of those good things into our daily lives.
If you're able to continue that'd be a win, I think.
Yeah. But it's also leaving me a bit, like, there's some kind of anxiety in the back of my head.
It's always going to be there, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we need to either work through in therapy or just stick it out.
I don't know. And also, to be honest, I follow a lot of what's going on in the business world and the startup world. And if you know, do you follow crypto by any chance?
Recently.
Yeah.
Not religiously, but recently.
Are you invested in it?
My brothers keep investing and they keep asking me to do it. I was like, do it on your own time. Don't bug me with it, because it's so uncertain and I'm not very.
And that too, the fact that there's this big, everyone's crypto.
Yeah,
and it was doing well. Forget the market trends, but everyone's crypto. And then if you open Instagram, it's NFT. You know what NFTs are? So it's apparently you can sell your art.
Right.
Except you can't, crypto, you can divide.
Right.
You can make 1/8 of a Bitcoin. You can buy 1 pow of a Bitcoin.
Right.
And NFT, you can't do that.
Okay.
So if I, for example, take a picture of my laptop with your questions, I can sell that as an NFT, and there'll only be one owner.
Oh, okay.
The ownership will not be divided.
Was that something where this Kanye West shoes say somebody did that?
Someone decided to actually
break it down and do something
sell
with
them
it.
as individual tokens. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, what is happening in the world?
Exactly, right? So now I'm even oh shit, if people do put in all their money there, and as the economy goes bust, goes bust, we've basically fucked ourselves over.
Because what is that? It has no value though. It's just a part of a shoe that belonged to somebody 10 10 years ago. Right?
And my
Like,
mind is
it's okay.
connecting that to why did the pandemic happen? One theory is that the glaciers melted because of global warming. Fucking crypto's working on servers, which is making climate change worse.
Yeah, so
So
it's just, it's
like
a
this,
whole cycle,
it's this
right? It's like the
devilish
butterfly
cycle.
effect, right? Like, it's just,
Yes.
yeah.
So long story short, there are fears now in my head which didn't exist
see,
before.
Things like this, I would say ignorance is bliss, okay? Because you can't solve all of the world's problems, right? You can't.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't. And
Uh-huh.
as much as you would like to think about it, what good is that going to do to you?
Yeah, no, and now I feel bad actually. I should not have said this out loud because now I'm thinking about it. Otherwise,
No, don't think about it. Think
Yeah.
happy thoughts. It's
Happy
okay. Think
thoughts.
about what you'll have for a
this,
star.
this is where
It's
the
all
coaching
good.
is coming in now. But as a final question, looking back over the past couple of years, if you could go back in time and meet your younger self, what is it that you would say to her?
So I thought about this question a lot, but my answer to that is nothing. Because if I didn't go through the experiences that I did, if I didn't feel the things that I did, I would not be the person that I am today, and I would not be able to help people in the way that I can today. So I wouldn't say anything to my younger self, just keep going, do your thing. But to younger girls right now, younger girls who probably going through the same thing that I went through when I was younger, is that you need to put yourself first. Straight up.
Period.
That is the only thing you need to focus on. Be there for your friends and family. Be a good person. Fulfill your purpose in whatever capacity, but not at the cost of your own mental and physical well-being. Straight up. That is the bottom line of every problem. Think about how it's affecting you. If it's affecting you too much, it's not worth it.
Brilliant. Well put and well said. Kiran, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
This was awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
How do you like it?
It was fun.
It's
I
cool,
liked
huh?
it, yeah. I didn't get nervous at all. I
Awesome.
hope. Did I nervous talk? Did I look like I was nervous?
You're still on camera, by the way.
Oh,
We're
wow.
still rolling. It's still rolling.
Oh, shit. Okay,
and this
cool.
is staying on because
Why?
one big
Okay,
long
fine.
take. But
Fine. Ignore
but-
that. I'm cool. It's okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
First time on camera. Myself, Kiran Jangda.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
No, this was fun. I liked it.
Yeah. No, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having
This was
me.
brilliant. This was also one of those I felt like positive, happy conversations.
Really?
Otherwise,
I'm
everyone
so
who's come on, I don't know if you've seen any of the other
I
episodes.
saw a couple.
Yeah. You're just being nice.
No, I did.
But-
When you told me, I saw it.
Right. But like everyone's just been so like real and like like they just want to fuck shit up.
No, I don't want to fuck shit up. I'm good. I'll
She was
leave
a-
it to other people.
Yes, yeah. But once again, thank you very much,
Thank you for
everybody. That was Kiran Jangra. This is Asad Hashim Ali. Till the next one. Bye bye.